For 8 years, my own mother told me there wasn't enough room at our family beach house for my kids and me. Then I bought an entire beachfront resort, filled it with family, and told her the exact same thing. My name is Amelia, and for as long as I can remember, my mother Evelyn had a favorite. My older sister Olivia. Olivia, who's 35, married her college sweetheart Mike, and popped out 4 kids in 6 years: Jack, Ava, James, and Arya. They were Mom's golden family, always portrayed as the successful ones, even though Mike's sales job was just average. Me. I'm a freelance graphic designer, a single mom to Alex, 9, and Mia, 7. I built my firm from the ground up after my divorce, busting my butt with 12-hour days just to put food on the table. But because I worked from home, Mom always assumed I was still figuring things out, a gentle way of saying unemployed. Olivia, meanwhile, loved to make little digs. "Must be nice to have such a flexible schedule," she'd say, with that fake, saccharine smile that just grated on my nerves. But the most glaring, painful proof of Mom's favoritism was our annual summer trip. Every year, for 8 agonizing years, our family would gather at Mom's North Carolina beach cottage. It was a perfectly decent 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house with a gorgeous view. Plenty of space for a normal family, you'd think. But every March, without fail, Mom would call me, her voice dripping with artificial regret. "Amelia, honey, I'm so sorry, but there's just not enough room at the beach house this year. Olivia's family is so big now, and you know how the kids need their space. Maybe next year, we can work something out." Meanwhile, Olivia's family would receive the royal treatment. Mom would spend weeks getting ready, stocking the house with their favorite foods, buying new beach toys, essentially rolling out the red carpet. Olivia's clan would descend, spreading their belongings everywhere, acting like they owned the place. And the worst part? Every single summer, my 2 precious children, Alex and Mia, would ask me with those innocent, hopeful eyes, "Mommy, why can't we go to Grandma's beach cottage like our cousins?" What was I supposed to tell them? That their grandma didn't consider us important enough? It wasn't just about a vacation. It was 8 years of being an afterthought, watching Mom go above and beyond for Olivia while we were shunted aside. Olivia would post dozens of perfect Instagram photos. Kids building sandcastles, Mike grilling, her in a hammock with a drink. We'd be at home, maybe the neighborhood pool, mostly just watching movies. Last summer, something inside me finally snapped. I had just landed my biggest client yet, a 6-figure contract to rebrand a software company. I was bursting with pride, ready to share the news at Mom's birthday party in June. "That's wonderful, dear," Mom said, completely missing the point. "Maybe now you can think about getting a more stable job." Then Olivia chimed in with a dismissive laugh. "Come on, Mom. Amelia likes playing around on her computer. It's not like she's ready for a real career." I bit my tongue, as always. But later that night, during Mom's annual Not Enough Room speech, Olivia decided to twist the knife. "You know, Amelia," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "maybe if you had a real job, you could afford your own vacation. The rest of us shouldn't have to sacrifice our family time because you can't get your life together." Mom actually nodded. "Olivia has a point, honey. Mike works so hard, and those kids deserve their vacation. Maybe when you're more established." I smiled and nodded, just like I had for 7 years before. "Of course, I understand. I hope you all have a good time." But inside, I was done. Absolutely, irrevocably finished. That tech startup deal was just the beginning. Word spread about my work, and soon I had more clients than I could handle. I raised my fees, became pickier, and started building something much bigger than a freelance gig. By October, I was stable enough to hire 2 employees. By December, 3 more major corporate clients were on board. February, I was looking for office space, thinking about expanding into digital marketing. The money was pouring in, but I kept it all a secret from my family. As far as they knew, I was still playing around with my computer. Then March rolled around, the month Mom usually called with her yearly lecture. But this time I was ahead of her. I made an offer on a small resort property, just 2 hours from the infamous beach house. It wasn't huge, 12 rooms, a restaurant, a stunning private beach. The previous owners had run it into the ground, so I got it for a steal. I immediately hired a management company, and while they handled operations, I oversaw renovations. By May, Seaside Haven Resort was transformed. I'd sunk $200,000 into new furnishings, refurbished rooms, an infinity pool that spilled into the ocean, and a kids' play area that would make Disney jealous. The restaurant served 5-star cuisine. It looked like it belonged in a luxury travel magazine. Most importantly, it was mine. All mine. It soft opened in June, and the reviews were fantastic. Bookings were flying in. Olivia, oblivious, was posting her usual pre-vacation social media parade. Kids shopping for beach gear, Mike loading the car, excited captions about their annual tradition at Grandma's place. Mom called in late June. "Amelia, honey, I'm so sorry, but..." "I know, Mom." I cut her off gently. "Not enough room." "No worries at all. Alex, Mia, and I have other plans this year anyway." "Oh, that's wonderful, dear. Where are you going?" "Just a little place I found. Nothing fancy." In the first week of July, I drove Alex and Mia to Seaside Haven. I'd reserved the best suite. 2 bedrooms, beachfront, private balcony, direct beach access. Their jaws dropped. "Mom, this place is incredible." Mia shrieked, running through the suite. "Are we really staying here for 2 whole weeks?" "We sure are, baby girl. We spent our days on the private beach, eating delicious food, swimming in the infinity pool, horseback riding, deep-sea fishing, kayaking. These were luxuries we'd never dreamed of. Seeing my children revel in it all was worth every penny. But the best was yet to come. By the way, if you're still with me, make sure to hit subscribe. More unbelievable stories are coming. In August, I started making phone calls. First, Uncle Benjamin and Aunt Carol, Mom's brother and sister-in-law. They'd always been kind to us. "Hey, Uncle Benjamin," I said. "I want to invite you guys to spend Labor Day weekend at this resort. All expenses paid. Food, activities, everything. I've had a really good year, and I want to share it with the people who matter to me." He tried to protest, but I insisted. Then I called cousin David, Mom's nephew, and his wife, Jennifer, whose teenagers rarely got a treat because money was tight. "Dave, how would you guys like a long weekend at a 5-star resort?" My treat. I know things have been tough since Jennifer got laid off. I contacted my father's sister, Aunt Nancy, the kind Martinez family who always struggled but had the biggest hearts. I called everyone who had ever made my children and me feel included and appreciated. By the time I was done, 22 members of our extended family were invited to Seaside Haven for Labor Day weekend. I booked the entire resort, hired a private chef, and planned activities for all ages. I did not invite Mom or Olivia. Labor Day weekend was fantastic. My relatives were astounded, constantly asking how I could afford such a magnificent place. I just smiled and said, "I had a good year." On Saturday evening, Uncle Benjamin pulled me aside. "Amelia, this is unbelievable. Your mom must be so proud." "Mom doesn't know about it," I stated casually. He looked confused. "What do you mean? But why? This is a family gathering." "Benjamin," I said, meeting his gaze. "For 8 years, Mom has told me there's not enough room at her beach house for me and my kids. Every single summer, we've been excluded from the family vacation because Olivia's family takes up too much space. So, this year I decided to host my own family gathering. And unfortunately, there's just not enough room for everyone." The truth spread like wildfire. Everyone knew about the beach house predicament. They'd heard Mom's justifications and Olivia's cutting remarks for years. Some had even quietly questioned Mom about my exclusion. Monday morning, as everyone was checking out, my phone started ringing. It was Mom. "Amelia, where are you? Benjamin just called me with some ridiculous story about you owning a resort." "That can't be true." "It's true, Mom." "What? How is that possible? You don't have that kind of money." "Apparently I do." A long silence. "Amelia, I'm confused. If you could afford something like this, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you invite us? You told me there wasn't enough room at your beach house. I'm telling you there's not enough room at my resort. That's completely different. The beach house is what, Mom? Not big enough for everyone? Well, guess what? Neither is my resort. But Amelia, we're family. Funny how you remember that now." I hung up. 20 minutes later, Olivia called. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she screamed into the phone. "Mom is crying her eyes out. How could you do this to us?" "Do what, Olivia? Have a family gathering? I thought you'd be happy. You always said I should be more successful. You know what I mean? You deliberately excluded us. The way you excluded me and my kids for 8 years? That was different. The beach house really isn't big enough for everyone. And my resort really isn't big enough for everyone either. Funny how that works. This is petty and vindictive, Amelia. You're better than this." "No, Olivia," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "I'm exactly this. I'm tired of being treated like the family failure when I work twice as hard as anyone else. I'm tired of watching my kids get left out because you decided your family matters more than mine." The weeks that followed were intense. Mom called daily, sometimes crying, sometimes furious, always demanding to know why I was punishing them. "I raised you better than this, Amelia. This isn't how family treats each other." "You're right, Mom. Family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me for the past 8 years. I never excluded you. There genuinely wasn't enough room. There was room, Mom. You just chose to give it all to Olivia. Every year, you chose her family over mine. Every year, you made my kids feel like they didn't matter. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Did you think they wouldn't notice?" Olivia took a different strategy, telling other family members I was harsh and nasty, hurting innocent children over a perceived insult. But the family members who'd attended the resort weekend knew the truth. They'd heard Mom's excuses, Olivia's criticisms. They'd seen me grin and nod while being constantly excluded. Uncle Benjamin actually called Mom, telling her she owed me an apology. "Evelyn, that girl has been nothing but gracious for years while you've treated her like a second-class family member. Now she's more successful than any of us, and she's sharing that success with people who actually appreciate her." Aunt Carol backed him up. "The way Olivia talks to Amelia is appalling. I've heard her make those comments about Amelia's job, and it's mean-spirited. Amelia has every right to celebrate her success with people who support her." The resort was thriving. Labor Day weekend generated incredible word of mouth, and I was booked solid through the fall. My graphic design firm prospered too. The success of the resort fueled my confidence in other areas of my life. I charged higher rates, took on bigger projects. Alex and Mia were flourishing, proud of what I'd accomplished, glad we could now afford the wonderful things their cousins took for granted. More significantly, they were learning that hard work pays off, and that you don't have to put up with horrible treatment simply because someone is family. Thanksgiving approached, traditionally held at Mom's house. She called in early November. Amelia, I hope you'll come to Thanksgiving dinner. I know we've had our differences, but it's important for the family to be together. Will there be enough room for everyone, Mom? Of course there will. Don't be ridiculous. Interesting. Your dining room table seats 8. Olivia's family is 6 people. You and Dad make 8. Where exactly are Alex, Mia, and I supposed to sit? We'll figure something out. We always do, right? Olivia's family gets the main table, and my kids and I get folding chairs in the kitchen. Thanks, but we'll pass. Amelia, you're being unreasonable. I'm being realistic, Mom. For the first time in my life, I'm being realistic about how this family works. Instead, I invited Uncle Benjamin's, Aunt Nancy's, and the Martinez families to Thanksgiving dinner at the resort. We enjoyed a wonderful supper, with plenty of room for everyone. In December, Mom made another call. Amelia, I've been thinking, maybe we should have Christmas at your resort this year. It would be nice for everyone to see what you've built. That's a generous offer, Mom, but the resort is booked solid through New Year's. I don't have any availability, but surely you could make an exception for family. I could make an exception for family that treats me like family. What do you want from me, Amelia? Do you want me to apologize? Fine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you felt excluded from the beach house. I was just trying to accommodate everyone. No, Mom. You were accommodating Olivia. There's a difference. Olivia has 4 children, and I have 2. Apparently, your math says 4 is more important than 2. Mom hung up. I spent Christmas morning with Alex and Mia at home, then drove to the resort for Christmas dinner with my true support system. 25 people, excluding Mom, Dad, Olivia, and her family. It was the finest Christmas I'd had in years. No passive-aggressive comments about my career. No more watching my children receive lesser, cheaper gifts. Just delicious food, genuine laughter, and people who valued what I had worked so hard to create. On New Year's Eve, standing on the resort's deck, watching fireworks with my children, I made a resolution. I was finished apologizing for my accomplishment. Done shrinking myself to make others comfortable. Done receiving crumbs from those who should have been celebrating my success. The resort proved I wasn't the family failure they'd made me feel like for so many years. My children were proud. My true friends backed me. My family members who mattered had seen what I was capable of. Mom called on New Year's Day. Amelia, I want to make things right between us. What will it take? It would take you acknowledging that you treated me unfairly for years. It would take you admitting that there was always room at the beach house, but you chose to give it all to Olivia. It would take you apologizing to my children for making them feel unwanted at family gatherings. I can't apologize for decisions I made in the best interest of the family. Then we don't have anything else to talk about. You're really going to throw away our relationship over a vacation house? Mom, I'm not throwing anything away. I'm just done pretending that being related to someone means you have to let them treat you poorly. I'm done teaching my children that family means accepting less than you deserve. It's been 6 months since I bought the resort. Business is fantastic. I'm expanding into a second property, and my graphic design firm has grown into a full-service digital agency with 8 employees. Alex and Mia are prospering. They're confident, joyful kids who understand their worth. They refuse to be treated as inferior by anyone. Some family members tried to mediate between Mom and me, but I wasn't interested. I'd spent too many years as the family's peacekeeper, covering up other people's bad behavior. Olivia sent me a friend request on Facebook last month. I declined it. Mom sends me articles about family healing and forgiveness. I delete them unread. By June, the resort was fully booked. We had waiting lists, corporate retreats booked months in advance. Alex finished 4th grade with all A's. Mia excelled in 2nd. They joined the swim team and made friends quickly. For the first time in years, they weren't wondering why they couldn't attend family reunions. Mom, Alex said one evening on the resort's veranda, Jack asked me at school why we don't come to the beach house anymore. Jack was Olivia's oldest. I knew this conversation was coming. What did you tell him? I told him we have our own place now. He said it looked way cooler than Grandma's house when he saw the pictures on Instagram. I smiled. The resort had a great social media presence, and I posted frequently. It wasn't meant to be petty, but I'll be honest, it felt wonderful knowing Olivia undoubtedly saw every post. He asked if he could come visit sometime, Alex continued. I told him I didn't know if his mom would let him. It stung a little. The kids were innocent, and Jack had always been nice. But I wasn't about to open that door. Rachel, my cousin David's daughter, announced her engagement in July. The wedding was scheduled for October, the first major family gathering since everything exploded. David called to personally invite me. Amelia, I know things are complicated with your mom and Olivia, but Rachel really wants you there. You've been so generous to our family, and she considers you one of her favorite aunts. Will Mom and Olivia be there? Of course, it's a family wedding. But Rachel specifically asked me to make sure you knew how much she wants you to come. She said, if anyone deserves to celebrate with family, it's you. I thought about it for a week. Rachel was a beautiful girl who had always been kind. She didn't deserve her wedding day ruined by family strife. I'll be there, I assured David. But I'm bringing security. Security? Just one guy. Someone to make sure things don't get out of hand if Olivia decides to make a scene. The wedding was gorgeous, held at a beautiful vineyard. I arrived with Alex and Mia, dressed to the nines. Mom spotted us during cocktail hour, approaching cautiously. Amelia, you look wonderful. The kids have grown so much. Thank you. How have you been? I heard the resort is doing very well. It is. She waited for me to elaborate, but I didn't. After a few awkward seconds, she tried again. I've been thinking a lot about our conversation at Christmas. Maybe we could talk sometime soon. Maybe. Olivia appeared at Mom's shoulder. Hi, Amelia. Olivia. The kids look nice, she observed, staring at Alex and Mia, who were talking with their second cousins. They do. The talk was painfully unpleasant. Other family members kept approaching, expecting a reconciliation, but I wasn't interested in making others comfortable at my expense. When dinner was served, I noticed something intriguing. My kids and I were seated at the main family table, directly between Uncle Benjamin's and Aunt Nancy's families. Mom and Olivia were at a separate table with Olivia's children and Mike. Rachel had made a choice. During the reception, Rachel approached me. Auntie, thank you so much for coming. I know things are weird with Grandma Evelyn right now. Your wedding day isn't about family drama, sweetheart. I'm here to celebrate you. I just want you to know that what you did with the resort weekend was amazing. Cousin David's family still talks about it. They said it was the best vacation they'd ever had. And I want you to know that I see how hard you work and what you've accomplished. Not everyone in the family gives you credit for it, but some of us do. Rachel's words meant more to me than she knew. Here was a 24-year-old with more emotional intelligence than people twice her age. As the evening ended, Olivia cornered me near the bar, plainly drunk. We need to talk, she slurred. No, we don't. Yes, we do. This has gone on long enough. You're tearing the family apart. I'm not tearing anything apart, Olivia. I'm just not participating in my own mistreatment anymore. Oh, please. Mistreatment. You're being dramatic. 8 years, Olivia. 8 years of being told there wasn't room for my kids at family vacations. 8 years of listening to you make comments about my career and life choices. 8 years of watching my children feel excluded while your kids got treated like royalty. Those weren't personal attacks. I was just being honest about your situation. My situation? You mean the situation where I built a 6-figure business from scratch while raising 2 kids on my own? That situation. Olivia's face turned red. You act like you're so successful now. But where was all this money when we were growing up? Why didn't you have a stable job when your kids were little? Because I was building something better than a stable job. I was building a business. I was investing in my future instead of settling for comfortable mediocrity. Comfortable mediocrity? I have a good marriage and 4 healthy kids. And I'm happy for you, but that doesn't give you the right to treat me like I'm less than you because I chose a different path. Olivia looked around to ensure no one was listening before leaning in. You want to know the truth? Mom was trying to protect you. She knew you couldn't afford to contribute to vacation expenses the way Mike and I could. She was trying to save you the embarrassment. I stared at her for a long time. Olivia, I offered to pay for my share of expenses every single year. Every year, I told Mom I could cover food, utilities, whatever she needed. She never once asked me to contribute anything. That's not how I remember it. That's because you were never part of those conversations. You just assumed I was broke because it made you feel better about excluding me. Marcus, my security guy, appeared at my elbow. Everything okay here, Miss Amelia? Olivia looked astonished. You really brought security to a family wedding? I brought insurance against drama. Looks like it was a good investment. I walked away before she could reply. My phone rang early Monday morning. Uncle Benjamin. Amelia, I heard there was some tension at the wedding. Are you okay? I'm fine, Uncle Benjamin. Olivia had a few drinks and decided it was time for a heart-to-heart. David told me you handled yourself well. He also mentioned that you brought security. Just a precaution. I wanted to enjoy Rachel's wedding without worrying about anyone making a scene. That's actually pretty smart. I might steal that idea for future family events. His remark made me giggle, but it also got me thinking. Maybe I wasn't the only one tired of walking on eggshells. By October, I was actively hunting for a second property. My business partner, Robert Chin, a hotel management specialist who approached me after learning about Seaside Haven's success, discovered a mountain retreat property in North Carolina that was ideal for development. The Mountain View Lodge was a 20-room hotel with a spa, meeting facilities, and breathtaking hiking paths. It was in foreclosure and needed extensive renovations, but it had tremendous promise. Amelia, this could be the flagship property for a whole chain, Robert told me as we toured the grounds. Seaside Haven proves you understand the luxury family market. This place could capture the corporate retreat and spa weekend market. I made an offer that week. While the lawyers finalized the acquisition, I focused on the holiday season at Seaside Haven. We were booked solid from Thanksgiving to New Year's, with a waiting list for Christmas 2026. Mom called in early November, just like the year before. Amelia, I want to try something different this year. What if we had Thanksgiving at Seaside Haven? I could pay for everyone's accommodation, and we could have the whole family together. The resort is fully booked, Mom. But surely you could make some adjustments, cancel a few reservations. I'm not going to disappoint paying customers to accommodate people who spent years making it clear I wasn't a priority. Amelia, I'm trying to make things right. No, you're trying to make things convenient. There's a difference. What do you want from me? I want you to admit that you were wrong. I want you to acknowledge that you played favorites for years, and that it hurt me and my children. I want you to apologize for making my kids feel unwanted at family gatherings. I never intended for the kids to feel unwanted, but they did feel unwanted. Mom, intent doesn't erase impact. There was a prolonged pause. I don't know how to fix this, Amelia. Maybe you can't fix it. Maybe some things are broken beyond repair. I don't accept that. Then you're going to be disappointed. Mountain View Lodge debuted in March with a soft opening for friends and family. The same group who'd attended the Labor Day weekend, plus a few additional supportive relatives. The property was lovely. We transformed it into a luxury wellness retreat, complete with a world-class spa, gourmet restaurant, and activities like guided hikes, yoga, and wine tastings. Uncle Benjamin and Aunt Carol were among the first attendees. Amelia, this is incredible, Carol exclaimed in the spa's relaxation area. 2 years ago, you were worried about making ends meet, and now you own 2 resorts. Hard work pays off, I said plainly. It's more than that. You have vision. You saw opportunities where other people saw problems. That evening, as we gathered for supper at the Mountain View restaurant, Uncle Benjamin stood up to toast. I want to say something about Amelia. 2 years ago, some people in this family thought she was struggling to find her way. They were wrong. She wasn't struggling. She was building. She was creating something amazing, while the rest of us were comfortable with the status quo. He raised his glass. To Amelia, who proves that success isn't about following someone else's path. It's about having the courage to build your own. Everyone raised their glasses, and I felt a warmth that wasn't related to the wine. Olivia called me a week after Mountain View opened. She sounded different, less defensive, more exhausted. Amelia, can we talk? Really talk. Not like at the wedding. What do you want to talk about? I want to apologize. It astonished me. Okay, I've been thinking a lot about what you said at Rachel's wedding, about the vacation expenses, and Mom never asking you to contribute. I called Mom to ask her about it, and she admitted that you offered to pay every year. She said she thought it would be easier to just have one family there instead of trying to coordinate with everyone. Easier for who? That's what I asked her, and she couldn't really answer. Olivia was silent for a moment. I also asked her why she always made those comments about your job not being real work. She said she was worried about your financial stability and thought she was encouraging you to find something more secure by insulting what I was building. I know it doesn't make sense, but I think she genuinely thought she was helping. What do you think, Olivia? Another pause. I think I was jealous. Jealous of what? Of your freedom? Of your creativity? Of the fact that you were building something that was entirely yours. Mike and I have a good life, but it's predictable. We do the same things every year, go to the same places, have the same conversations. You are creating something new. So, you decided to tear me down instead of supporting me. I decided to make myself feel better by convincing myself that what you were doing wasn't real success. It was easier than admitting that maybe I was playing it too safe. It was the most candid chat Olivia and I had ever had. I'm sorry, Amelia. I'm sorry for the comments about your job. I'm sorry for supporting Mom's decision to exclude you from vacations. And I'm sorry for making you feel like you weren't successful enough to deserve respect. Thank you for saying that. Is there any chance we could start over? Not go back to how things were, but maybe build something new. I thought about it. Maybe, but it would have to be different. I'm not going back to being the family member who accepts less just to keep the peace. I understand, and I respect what you've built. Both businesses are incredible. Thank you. Would it be okay if I brought the kids to visit Seaside Haven sometime? Not as a family obligation, just as customers paying for a vacation. I'd be happy to have you as guests. But Olivia, things are different now. I'm different now. I know. And maybe that's a good thing. Chose to create a business, a life, and relationships with people that respect me. I decided to quit accepting less than I deserve simply because someone shares my DNA. Some could accuse me of being petty or vengeful. Perhaps I am. But after 8 years of being told there wasn't enough place for me and my children, I found something wonderful. There is always enough space when you create your own table. The Seaside home can accommodate 8 persons comfortably. My 2 resorts accommodate 96 visitors and employ 43 personnel. Olivia was correct about one thing. Having a genuine job allows you to purchase your own vacation. Sometimes the best retaliation is simply living well, and business is quite good. As I write this, it has been 3 years since I purchased Seaside Haven. Mountain View Lodge is fully booked until next summer, and I'm looking into a 3rd property in Colorado. My graphic design firm has 15 staff and clients around the country. Alex is now 11 and aspires to be an entrepreneur like his mother. Mia, 9, has decided she wants to be a chef and work in one of our resort restaurants. They are self-assured, cheerful children who understand their worth and refuse to be second best. Mom and I have talked several times during the last year. She is working to understand why her actions hurt me, and I am working to forgive. It is a slow process, but we are making progress. Olivia and I have discovered a new dynamic. We aren't as tight as we once were, but there is mutual respect now. Her family did visit Seaside Haven last summer, and it was a great experience. No comments on my career. No passive-aggressive statements regarding money. Just 2 families having a holiday together. The family dynamics have transformed irrevocably. I'm no longer the family member who requires charity or sympathy. I am a family member who employs 43 people and gives back to the community through local employment and charitable activities. Most importantly, I'm no longer the family member who settles for less than she deserves just to keep the peace. I created my own peace, and it is beautiful. Sometimes the finest revenge isn't really revenge. Sometimes it is simply refusing to shrink in order to make others comfortable. Sometimes it's creating something so lovely that people can't help but admire what you've produced. And occasionally, when someone tells you there isn't enough room, the best response is to go build your own room, then make another one, then construct an empire. When you have the blueprints, there is always enough room. What about you? Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and standing up for yourself in a family situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. After 8 years of being shut, redditfamilytales.txt.